The Celtic Forever Podcast is a zero advert and zero profit channel. The channel also includes Celtic highlights and player interviews, so join the uninterrupted fun and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.
Hello again, everybody. A warm welcome to the Celtic Forever Podcast. I am Xander. John is with me today to go over Dundee 2, Celtic 0. Pathetic performance, pathetic result. Everything is against us just now. Things are not looking good for us just now, but we're going to break everything down bit by bit. But first of all, let's bring in John. John, I know you only saw the second half of the game on Sunday, but this is pretty bad, John. I didn't realise things were this bad, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought things would iron themselves out eventually and we would cruise to another league title, and that might still happen, you know, we're not saying it's not going to happen, but as it stands, things are looking pretty bad for us just now.
It's early days to say the league's over, you know what I mean? It's far from that situation. A long way to go, 30 games to go. Like I says before, it ain't a sprint, it's a marathon. And you need to have the stamina for a marathon. All right, right now we're lacking that stamina, but look, I'm sure it'll pick up soon. Well, that's maybe optimistic from me, judging by our recent form. But look, it's early days, isn't it? It's early days, but we should not be getting beat by Dundee. It's as simple as that.
It is as simple as that. Dundee, sitting bottom of the league table, can't beat anybody. They're in a terrible position themselves, Sean, and then they put Celtic to the sword like that. So yeah, it's very tough to take just now, and we can't even get a laugh at the Rangers because of what's happening at Celtic. That's that bad, you know. But yeah, we'll go into it, John. Let's go right into it then. Let's do the post-match reaction to Dundee 2 Celtic. Now, it's a shambles for me, John. Right now it's a shambles, and as you say, it will pick up hopefully, especially in January when we get these signings in that we desperately need, actually, John, we now desperately need new faces in the door, because the players that are on the park, especially the last few games, they just don't look interested to me.
What I seen yesterday, I only seen the second half and I turned it off after the penalty got denied. So I only really seen, half an hour?
Yeah.
Really? I think, when was the penalty situation? That was about 75 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I turned it off after that. I thought, that's just, they're getting nothing out of this. They never looked like scoring. All I seen for the half hour I watched was Celtic players just kicking it straight out the park. I don't know what's happening there, but it looked like it was intentional. They never wanted to win.
It looked poor. There's something desperately wrong at Celtic just now, John. The manager needs to sort that out as soon as possible, because we can't afford to go any further than 5 points behind Hearts, to be honest with you, because they're flying. Let's be honest, they're flying. So they are a serious league contender for us, John. They are going to push us, and hopefully I'm totally wrong with that, John. We can pick it up and they fall away. That's what we're all hoping for, obviously, but no, going by the way they're playing, they're going to be a challenge for us this season, and that goes without saying, not clearly with them being 5 points clear at the moment. John, you said in the last podcast, the preview of the Dundee game, that the game on Sunday there, something's going to happen in that game that's going to push us on for the rest of the season. Now, I know you're talking about maybe a comfortable 5-0 win would push on from there, or maybe even a last-minute winner and we could push on from there. But John, I think you're actually right. I think this is the turning point for us. I think this could be the turning point for us, getting beat by Dundee. It gives us the shake-up that we need, gives the players the shake-up that need, the manager as well. And I think you're right, John. I think that is the turning point for us. Well, hopefully anyway.
Well, it could be. It could be something that the players have a look at and have a word with themselves and think, playing for Celtic here, They're not playing for Brecon City. And putting in performances like that, they should be playing for Brecon City, by the way. No disrespect to Brecon. But that was awful. What I seen was awful. I mean, I don't know how many times I just watched Celtic players just lob it, like I say, just lobbing it right out the park. Liam Scales, long balls forward. Normally he's good at that, kicking it straight out the park. No, I don't know if it will kick the season off right enough. I really don't know if the issues go deeper. Then maybe there's a problem with Brendan Rodgers there or something like that. But I've watched his interview that you put on. That's all I've seen, by the way. I've seen the 30 minutes that I did manage to see in that interview that you put on. That's all I've seen. And I think his attitude stinks, Sander. We could do better. You better believe it. We could. This is Celtic we're talking about against Dundee. Not to sound entitled. Dundee, probably, I don't know, maybe they deserved their win. What I've seen, they hardly touched the ball, to be honest with you. Big Elvis is looking rough, isn't he, by the way? He looks older than 51.
Yeah, I like Big Presley, to be honest. And fair play. I mean, he got his team battling there and got his result that he needed. So I wish Dundee luck for the rest of the season, John, because, you know, if they put in performances like that against everybody else, they'll not be too far away, to be honest with you. And it was very, very respectful of Celtic after the game as well, John. I listened to his interview and he's got nothing but kind words to say about Celtic. So fair play to the big man, to be honest with you. But no, it's about Celtic here, John. And you're talking about Brendan there, John, Brendan Rodgers, and his attitude in that interview that I put on. I noticed a shrug of the shoulders there. I know people are saying, listen to me, body language, who cares? But no, I care, because when I see the Celtic manager just off the back of a 2-0 loss to Dundee shrugging his shoulders, John, that's a warning signal for me.
Aye, that's what I do. Obviously, that wasn't the full interview, but that was enough. That was enough to say, is this guy's heart in the right place here? I don't think his heart's in it anymore. I think he's looking at this as my time's up here, and I think the problem definitely goes deeper than fan protests, Sander. We can see that now.
Yeah, we can see that, John. It's there's massive problems at the club. You know, you've got the fan protests, you know, then the board not giving the manager the money to spend. Maybe the board know something about Brendan that we don't, John. Maybe he does want to leave Celtic. I mean, we're only assuming here, obviously, talking about this, but something's very wrong throughout the entire club, John. So again, that's down to the manager to fix that, John. He's got to fix that, starting with the very next game in Europe on Thursday night, John. So we will go through the players, the performances of the players, John. We'll also do a 1 to 10 individual scoring against the BBC's 1 to 10 individual scoring. I think that's going to be very interesting. But no, John, just to stick to this for the moment, do you see a light at the end of the tunnel here, John, starting on Thursday night and then moving on from there? Do you think this is going to hopefully blow over sooner rather than later?
No, I don't see a quick fix anyway. I don't see a quick fix. I think it's a kind of deep-rooted problem somewhere. I don't know what it is, obviously, but I certainly don't see a quick fix. I mean, Celtic could turn up on Thursday and win. They could turn up at Tynecastle and win. That's the kind of Celtic we've got right now. Very unpredictable, isn't it? But there isn't a quick fix. I think there's deep-rooted problems there, and obviously none of us know what the problem is, and it certainly is not fan protests. I definitely don't think it's that. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah. It's very annoying, isn't it, John? Coming off the back of winning a double, the Scottish Cup defeat to Aberdeen has obviously kicked all this off, John. We just not looked the same team since then, to be honest with you. In fact, we've not looked like the same team since we got put out of the Champions League last year to Bayern Munich, John. So, John, it's a mess. It's a mess just now. But we need to break it down, and let's break it down, John. It's another 2 goals conceded for the champions, John. Another 2 goals against Dundee. That was 2 goals against Motherwell. 2 goals against Braga as well, John, and various other goals before that, John. So the defence, to me, the defence looks like a nervous wreck. And I'm not just talking about 1 or 2 of them, John. I'm talking about the whole back 5, John, including the goalkeeper. I think the defence, we need Alistair Johnston back anyway as soon as possible. We need to drop Kieran Tierney for me, and we need to look at bringing in another centre half in January as well, John? What do you think?
The defence hasn't really had a problem up until recent times. So I think the players are okay. Players, Liam Scales and Carter-Vickers, I think they're okay. The one attack that I seen Dundee having while I watched was a corner kick. And yet again, a small player get in behind Liam Scales. I don't know if maybe, obviously, Liam's had a recent family bereavement. Maybe his mind was elsewhere. I really don't know. But he's a cracking big defender, Big Liam. I'm never going to say anything bad about him. And Carter-Vickers apparently scored an own goal. I never seen that. But we need better players there. Or we need the players to be better managed.
Yeah. We also need cover, John, because who could they bring on yesterday? Who could they bring on to, secure that defence? There was no really any options on the bench. I think Big Dean Murray was on the bench, but Big Scales, it's his worst performance since he's joined Celtic, actually, and you could say that about every single one of the players on the park, John, I suppose. But we're going to break it down, as I say. But before we break it down, John, the warning sign for me in this whole situation, where it sort of flagged up for me, this whole thing, was the Rangers games, John. Playing Rangers, every single team taking points off Rangers, every single team battling against Rangers, taking points, beating them, lower teams drawn with them, even in the cup games as well. Teams like Alloa giving them a good game, and then Clyde putting them out the cup. Things like that. Every single team giving Rangers a very decent game, and Celtic couldn't turn up against them. That's the last, since the 3-0 game last season at Celtic Park, John, we've not turned up against Rangers, and that, for me, that's been the start of all of these problems for me. We can't. The main game for Celtic is Rangers, isn't it? That's the main game. That's the main fixture for every Celtic supporter. And since the 3-0 game last season, John, we have not turned up.
Nah, Queen's Park, by the way, Sander.
Sorry, John, did I say Clyde or something?
I wouldn't be surprised if Clyde put them out a cup, but that was Queen's Park.
Yeah, that's right, John. Yeah, but no, John, warning signs from me there, to be honest with you.
I don't know if that's the catalyst for it, to be honest with you, the Rangers games. But when I look at Rangers this season, getting the amount of draws they had and defeats and stuff against apparently inferior teams in Europe and stuff, but you look at teams taking points off of Rangers. Celtic took a point off them as well, you've got to remember, but you've got to expect the champions to be facing a Russell Martin team and taking all 3 points off them, because they were so poor. They still are poor, by the way, but Celtic only taking a point there. That spoke volumes for me, that one. I think I'm not looking as far back as last season. Maybe losing the cup to Aberdeen was a catalyst. I really don't know, but the team looks tired, to be honest with you. It looks like a tired team that needs freshening up, big style. But I don't think Rangers last season was anything to do with it. Maybe this season, the game at Ibrox Sander, I think I looked at that game and thought, how could we not beat that utter garbage? In fact, Rangers actually played us off the park that day. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, John. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's been like that. We've not beat them. We've not beat them since that 3-0 game. And that's pretty bad, to be honest with you. Right, John. Yeah, let's break it down then. Let's finally get into this. Okay, we spoke about this in the last podcast that Maida was out, Alistair Johnson was out, Trusty was out, and sure enough, all three of them were out, John. The only one that made an appearance was Big Liam Scales. But that's three main, two at least mainstays in the team, John, that were missing for the Dundee game. But we should have had enough quality there, John, to get the job done, which points to me and probably most Celtic supporters, John, that it's a deeper rooted problem there. But Dyson missing, John, didn't help matters, did it?
I don't think Dyson would have made a bit of difference, to be honest with you. But look, Celtic's not had a settled team most of the season. Arne Engels, I keep going back to Arne Engels. Celtic Celtic's most expensive signing, 11 million quid. He's an absolute donkey. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'll just come out and say it. Paid 11 million quid for a donkey. Get over his quality.
Worth every penny.
Worth every penny. Absolutely, aye. If you're if you're looking for somebody to keep a permanently warm bench, aye.
Yeah. That's
I look at that anyway, and I think 11 million quid for him, and he's done absolutely zero since he came to Celtic. And then I go back to looking at Brendan Rodgers' signings. His signings, he's not had great success out of them, to be honest with you. I'm not blaming the manager for everything here, by the way. The players 11 men have got to do a job on the park, but I just don't think Brendan's signings are that good, to be honest with you, Xander. He spent a lot of money and we've got nothing in return. Yeah,
the main three, it was Trusty and Engels and Ida. A lot of money spent on they three, and where are they? Where are these boys when we need them the most? Right, John, let's break it down player by player, because we don't need to go into what happened in the game. We know what happened in the game. We conceded a goal in the 18th minute. Robertson header, terrible defending, and then a Carter-Vickers own goal right on half time to make it 2-0 at half time. We got denied the penalty. Yeah, we did get denied the penalty, but all these things have mean nothing really, John. We hit the post, blah blah blah. We've had other free chances in the game, but we never, as you said, looked like scoring in this one. So players, let's break it down. Players of concern for me just now. We do realise this could change in the next game, and we could turn round and beat Sturm Graz at Celtic Park, and we move on from there. But when we're talking about this game, John, so let's talk about it. Players of concern, McGregor. For me, he's lost it. He's lost his pace. He's lost his direction. He's lost his concentration, John. The midfield looks lost for me. It looks pretty bad. There's no direction at all. Shambles. Oh, I'm not saying that Callum McGregor's a shambles. I think the whole midfield is a shambles, John, to be honest with you. But McGregor, John, he looks as though he's lost that extra wee bit of sharpness and pace.
Aye, I'd have to say that he looks a couple of yards off it, Callum. Don't want to pick on any individual players, unless it's Arnie Engels, of course, but I'm looking at the boys on the park, and Callum McGregor, he's just Callum, there's a 31 or something like that.
Aye.
He's definitely lost a couple of yards into Callum, but still a good player, right enough, but he's starting to look like he's needing replaced, to be honest with you. Not replaced completely, but he can still do a job for Celtic. Absolutely could still do a job for Celtic. But we need a stronger influence in the centre of the park, girls, because Callum, for me, has definitely lost his edge. He's a couple of yards off it.
John, it just goes back to our original argument, John. And by the way, we can talk about these players because it's regards to this game and the last few games, John. We're not talking about what's going to happen in the future. We're talking about the current form, and we're totally allowed to talk about these players. Not a problem. We do realise that they've won trophies for us, but that's in the past, John. We're talking about now. And it returns to our original point about Awata, and we didn't get a replacement or backup for Callum in the summer either. We've went over it 1,000 times, John, and it's it's coming back to bite us. No podcast mentioned this, John, apart from us. We need backup for Callum McGregor, and it comes back to that original problem for us, John. There's no backup for him. He can't get a rest. If he gets injured, we've got nobody in there to step in, John. So that's a position in January we really need to look at, I think.
Aye, well, but I think when it comes to this league, I think players in this league, they know how to play against Callum McGregor. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Callum. He's still a cracking player. You can't take that away from him. You can see he's still got, he's maybe got the mind to do good things, but he's maybe not got the legs or the lungs or whatever to be the player that he used to be. But he's still a cracking player. He's still useful to Celtic. But we definitely need somebody that can stand in for him if he needs a rest, Callum. I think it would be beneficial for the team if Callum could get rested every couple of games or something like that, but it's when players get to that age, and saying that, he's only 31, isn't he? there's players a lot older than him can still do it for 90 minutes. I just think he looks like he's lost his edge. Maybe that's whatever it is that's deep-rooted the problem. Maybe it's affecting Callum more than other people, I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens on Thursday night, because we need the performance levels up severely, John. We need these performances back up to 100%. We're sitting at about 40% just now. So, okay, let's move on. Ralston, John, I mean, it's night and day next to Alistair Johnston, to be honest with you. As you say, we're not picking on these players as regards to what they've done for Celtic or overall, John. We're talking about the last few games. And Tony Ralston, for me, John, he's just not got that extra wee bit of quality that we need.
No, I like Tony. He's a nice guy and all that. Half decent right back, Scotland international. He just lacks pace or anything like that. And his ability to read what's coming is a wee bit off, I think. I don't think he's good at reading the game too well. Sometimes Tony, sometimes he's immaculate when he plays. Hot and cold player, Tony Ralston, isn't he? Look, this is another position we talked about. Was getting a right back, a proper right back. And we've got Alistair Johnston there. But I don't think Tony's adequate cover for Alistair Johnston, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and why on earth did he drop Donovan? Boy was flying, playing well, playing brilliant, in fact. And he drops him. So, yeah, there's problems all over the place here, John. By scales, he just looks like a nervous wreck for me the last few games, to be honest with you. The big man, he's normally absolutely solid in defence for us. And we never say a bad word about any Celtic player, John, unless they're not performing. And this is why we're going through these players of concern for us at the moment. Big scales, as you say, family bereavement as well. That could be playing on his mind, John. But we need to talk about it still.
Aye, well, that's what I said earlier. I think maybe that's what. Maybe he shouldn't have been started in the game. Look, Big Dane Murray, I like him. I think he's a cracking centre half. And if Big Liam's maybe, he's obviously says to Brendan, I'm okay to play. Don't worry, I'll be okay. Maybe I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just going through what might have happened. But I think when it comes to things like that, you've got to rest these players, give them time to recover. And I think Dane Murray does a cracking job every time he starts for Celtic. Him and young Donovan, two absolutely outstanding young players. And I think both of them, unless Donovan's injured, I really don't know if he was on the bench because I missed the lineups and all that. But they two, for me, should have started that game.
Yeah. And it's back to this original issue we have as well, John. Nobody seems to bring this up but us. I know that I've heard it anyway because I've not seen any comments about it. But where is Inamura? Where is he? The guy plays a blinder in the close season games, the pre-season games, John. An absolute blinder. Looks like a very decent left back. Where the heck is he when we need him? And Shin Yamada, he's another one. Where is he? With no firepower whatsoever, but we'll get to that, John, in a wee minute. Kieran Tierney, John. I mean, he's getting a rough time in the comment sections everywhere, Kieran Tierney. We don't want to pick on him. We know he's a quality player. But he's not showing it just now, John. He really is not showing any quality whatsoever, to be honest with you. He's clearly injured, John. Get him off the park, get him into full recovery, and then start playing him, John. But who do we use as backup? Obviously, we've got Sriracha there, John. And as I say, where the heck is Inamura? Couple of left backs there, John. But he's sticking with Tierney.
Aye, of course he's going to stick with Tierney, and I don't know why. I was against this signing way back middle of last year. I was against it. I says it umpteen times on the podcast. I didn't want Kieran Tierney back at Celtic because of the fact he's too injury prone. We know he's a cracking player, but he's not the player that he used to be. He isn't that player anymore, Kieran Tierney. And if you're talking about getting up to full fitness, he must be up to full fitness by now, Xander. He's played, 10 games, 11 games or whatever it is. Europa League, the SPFL League, Scottish Domestic Cup games, the pre-season friend. He's played a lot. He should be up to speed by now, Xander. And he just looks like he isn't even half the player he used to be. And I knew that was going to happen. And that's why I was totally against that signing. Even though he's a good Celtic man and a cracking player, he ain't that player anymore. Anybody listen to me going, listen to him. Look at his performances and tell me he's the same player.
Yeah, James Dore in the comments saying he must be on about 50,000 a week. I don't know if it's as much as that, James, but we'll not be far away from that, to be honest with you. But so far, it looks as though it's money down the drain, because he's also running about with this wrist strap on as well, John. What is wrong with his wrist? Is he worried about falling on that? You know, you just don't know what's going through the boy's mind, John, you know. So if he's not 100% fit, get somebody else in there, John, that is 100% fit. All right. And by the way, we'll go through the comments later on as well.
You can see the difference when Sriracha plays. You can see a big difference when he plays, Xander. Big difference.
Yeah, and he was obviously left out because we spoke about that. The international duty was back too late for that. So he was not fit enough for that one. Nygren, John, we don't want to say too much bad about Nygren. He's a decent player. He's a high scorer, in fact, for Celtic just now, isn't he, Nygren? But he looks as though he's gone back the way as well. It's just a squad thing just now, John. We need to get the manager to sort this out now. But Yang, John, let's move on to Yang. My goodness, why did they start with Yang? I just don't get it. I don't get why this boy should be sent out on loan, like you said a few weeks ago, John. Yang should be sent out on loan, get him some experience, but he's getting flung in at the start for Celtic, John, against Dundee, where clearly he just didn't have it. I know he didn't see the first half, right, but he done absolutely nothing.
I've never seen it, so I can't comment on it, but I did predict him to start.
Yeah, well, your prediction, John, was bang on apart from Scales. We thought the big man Murray was going to start because of his bereavement in the family for Scales. But no, he went with Scales, John. So your starting 11 was bang on apart from Scalesy. And Yang did start, John, and I just don't get it. I don't want to be too harsh on the boy. He's just a young kid, isn't he? But no, we're looking for 3 points here. We're sitting 2 points behind Hearts, looking to 5 points behind Hearts, sorry, looking to claw back to 2 points. And Yang offered absolutely nothing, John, in the whole game. He got 10 off in the second half. That's probably why you never seen him. And Forrest came on, never done much better, to be honest with you. And the actual, John, just no service. Hit the post, yeah, a couple of headers wide. I liked Big Balak Wisha, John, actually, when he came on. He was throwing that ball into the box, fair play to him, because your Tenettis and your Yangs of this world, John, were not putting that ball into the box. We need crosses into the box. You've got a physical striker there looking for crosses, and fair play to Iniacho. He threw a couple into the box. The big Iniacho got his head on them. A couple just fizzed wide, and he also hit the post. So no service for Iniacho. Pass marks, John, possibly Tenetti. He looked okay. The boy's trying his heart out for Celtic. He really is. I'm just looking forward to a fit Jota coming back. You got Jota on the right and Tenetti on the left with a Dyson through the middle. You know, we're looking forward to this sort of thing returning, John, but that's a long way off. All right, John, let's get into the individual scores then, 1 to 10. And by the way, we're not picking on these boys. They've done well for us. They've won us trophies in the past, but things are very poor just now. Very poor, in fact. It's words can't describe how bad things are just now. I know we're sitting second on the table, but if things continue the way they've been going, John, it's that gap's just going to get wider and wider. And also, John, Rangers, actually, it turned out to be a good weekend for them because they clawed 1 point back on Celtic. They were the 9 points behind now, they're just the 8. So it turned out okay for them in the end with a 1 each or 2 each draw with Dundee United. Right, 1 to 10 then, John. 1 to 10 individual player rankings for you, John, and we'll match them up against the BBC. So you can run through them, John, and I'll tell you what the BBC scored. The players, John, starting with big Kasper Schmeichel in goals. Another 2 goals conceded for the big man. It's time for Sinisalo for me.
I've been saying it for weeks and weeks. It's time for Sinisalo. I never seen the goals that he let in. I've still not seen the goals, so I can't comment if he had any part in the goals or anything like that, conceding the goals. I really don't know if there's anything he could have done about them, but like, he's let in 2 goals. He's starting to let in a lot of goals, Kasper, and his distribution of the ball, what I've seen. But I can only comment what I've seen in this game, and by what I've seen, because I turned it halfway after the penalty was disallowed. He never had anything to do when I was watching it. It was all Celtic attacking. By the way, big shout out to every Celtic fan that showed up at that game, singing our hearts out at 2-0. Celtic fans, an absolute credit to the club. It's a pity the team on the park can't be the same.
Absolutely, John. And the Celtic fans are just amazing. I know this protest at the start, that's getting the blame for part of this. But the manager's right. Yeah, the manager's right there. It's nothing to do with it. It's tennis balls in the park doesn't prevent you from clearing a corner kick, John. Conceding the goals like that from corner kicks and stuff like that, John. But no, a wee quick word on the penalty, John. We might as well have a wee quick word on that before we get into the rest, John. In fact, I'm not even gave a score for Schmeichel yet, but before we get into that, what's your view on that? Right, okay. What's your view on the penalty, John? Because for me, it's a penalty. I don't care if it hits his face and then his arms are, right above his head trying to stop the ball. He's not a goalkeeper, the boy, So, what's your views on it?
It's hard to say because it never actually hit his arm. Apparently, it hit his face, and I've not seen a definite replay of that. For what I've read so far, it clearly hit his face. Celtic fans seem to agree with that. All I know is when I seen it disallowed, that red button on the remote control just got hit, Xander, and I switched it off.
Yeah, but it brushed his arm, John, but it hit his face first. So the Celtic, the referee, is right there. I mean, he's got every right to cut it off for that, but his arms are way up in an unnatural position like that, John. It does brush his arm. I know it hits his face first. I know that, but
well, it could be considered save of the season.
The fact that it hit his face is just by luck more than anything else, John, to be honest with you. Anyway, all right, John, we'll leave it there because it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Anyway,
there's more important issues yet.
There is. Kasper Schmeichel too, because he let 2 goals in, so he gets a point for each goal he let in.
2, yeah. I mean, I think your scores are going to be very similar to the BBC's, to be honest with you. By the way, just to touch on the BBC player rankings, not one Dundee player got under 8. Under 8 for a defensive performance. So there you go. But let's Michael, 2.7 the BBC said, John. What did you say again?
2.
Okay. And Ralston?
Again, never had what I seen of the game. I can only comment on what I seen, and all I seen was Celtic attacking. But I think you'd be better placed to put the points down, and I'll try and guess what the BBC says. How about
that? Yeah, go for it. Okay, Ralston. No more than a 3 for me for Ralston, John. What do you think the BBC said?
If you're saying a 3, I'll go for the BBC saying a 3 as well.
2.3 for the BBC, John. Then we had your man, the own goal man, Carter-Vickers, John. But apart from the own goal, I thought he played okay, to be honest with you. He was okay. Not great, obviously, but not the worst player in the park. I'll give him a 4. What do you think BBC said?
5.5.
2.5.
Aye?
For Vickers. Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, I think the own goal brought his score down. Big Scalesy, head elsewhere possibly. We've already spoken about that, John. Big Liam Scales, a 3 for me, John. At best, in fact, for me, Big Scalesy gets a 3. What are you saying for the BBC?
I was thinking about Carter-Vickers getting a 2.5 off of the BBC there. He missed a cracking chance for a corner as well, a header.
Yeah.
But an own goal was always going to drop your points down, but I didn't think as low as that, by the way. But anyway, Liam Scales, for what I seen, he had a bit of a nightmare when it came to crossing the ball. Passing the ball forward, right out the park. It was just shake. I've seen him putting his hand up as if to say, sorry.
Right, what are you saying there, John? BBC score.
What were you giving them?
A 3.
You're giving them a 3. I'll say the BBC giving them less then, judging by what you're saying. I'll say they give him a 2.
2.4 also, John. And then on the right, Kieran Tierney, John, I'll say Archie tried. He's trying his hardest. The boy, he's clearly unfit. 2.5 for me, John.
Why is he in the team if he's unfit?
But we spoke about earlier, John. Why is the manager picking him ahead of anybody else that could have played in there, John? You could put big Liam Scales at left back and put Dane Murray at centre half. You know, there is choices still there, but he played Tierney. But what do you think, John, for the BBC?
I think should put him up for sale when it comes January. Anyway, BBC. But if you're giving him a 2.5, it's got to be around about the same, isn't it? I've got to say, I'll say a 3.5 for the BBC.
Yeah, 2.7. Callum McGregor, John. I'll say very uninfluential in this one. That's tough. It's really tough because in the second half we were trying to attack, like you say, but in vain. A 4 for Callum for me, John, in this one. Who are you saying?
BBC gave him a 4.7.
2.6.
Right, that's bad.
Very low scores, isn't it?
I wish I watched the whole game, Xander, and I could do this myself because I'd probably give him the same scores as you.
Yeah, that's it, John. Nygren, again, he looked lost in the midfield. The whole midfield looked lost, actually. Not finding any pinpoint crosses, not having any shots at goal, all the usual stuff that we like from Nygren, wasn't doing it. I'll give him a 3.5.
Right, I'll just go with it, but I'll say the BBC. I've gone by the BBC's score marking so far. I'm going to say they gave him a 2.5. Yeah,
2.6, John. And then we had Rio Hatate, John, in the midfield. Again, a player that he's just not the player he was last season, let's put it that way. We're hoping these are just one-off games, by the way. We're hoping these boys return bigger and better in Europe in midweek. I'll say 4 for Rio. What are you saying, buddy?
3.5 BBC.
2.7 for Rio Hatate. Then the forward line, John, Tanetti trying his hardest, only sort of shining light, and even that was quite dim, to be honest with you, so I'll give him a 5. What are you saying, John?
I think Tanetti, what I seen of Tanetti in the game, he reminded me of Yang a lot, trying to beat players too many times instead of just whipping the ball in once he's past his player. He tends to want to get that onto his stronger foot, I suppose. He's a crank me player, Tanetti. There's no doubt about it, but I'm going to say, you say he's done all right. BBC seem to be slaughtering the Celtic players here, so I'm going to say 2.7 again.
Yeah, 3 from BBC Scotland. And who else do we have? Big Iheanacho up front, John. Big Iheanacho hit the post, couple of efforts wide, tried his hardest, the boy. I mean, but what else can he do apart from put the ball in the net, obviously? But he was trying his hardest to get that goal. Very tough. I'll give him a 4. What are you saying, John?
I did see his performance in the actual. I was unlucky for what I seen, but I'm going by what the BBC. It sounds like they haven't gave a Celtic player over 3 here, by the way, so I'm going to say 3.
2.4 for Iheanacho. Yeah, every Dundee player got over 8. Every single Dundee player got over 8. I mean, I think 2.3, 4s and 5s are a bit too low. You know, 4s and 5s, yeah, but no 2 points, this and that. And Yang, John, on the right, for me, done nothing in the game. 2.5 for Yang, just for pulling on the jersey for 45 minutes. He gets 2.5 for me, John. But what you saying?
BBC probably gave him a 2.
1.9, John. 1.9.
That's close enough, isn't it?
Yeah, very close. Very accurate, actually. If I'm being honest with you. Yeah, okay, that's that then, John. We'll not go through the subs. There's no point going through subs because they done as much as the first 11, to be honest with you.
Well, I was going to say to you with the subs when I was watching James Forrest because he was closest to the camera, huffing and puffing, running a yard and then turning back. James Forrest, I thought he looked all right, James Forrest, but I was noticing 3 Dundee players sprinting out to shut down the wingers. That's what Celtic were up against as well. Remember, when I see that kind of anti-football, it's a hard thing to capitalise on, breaking that low block. But James Forrest, I noticed the defender sprinting out to shut him down. He wasn't getting an inch. I'd imagine that's the way it was the whole game. The wingers weren't getting an inch. But I was looking at that game and thinking, why don't you just start whipping the ball in at chest height and hope it hits a hand? Whip it in with pace and hope there's a deflection for a handball, because there isn't another way to break that low block down, unless you've got players like Messi and all that, which we don't have. We 1-2s outside the box and all that. Celtic players are not capable of doing that. They should be against Dundee, but they're not. And Celtic players need to start whipping in crosses at chest height when it's that packed penalty box and hope it takes a deflection off a hand and get us back into the game or something, because this left, right stuff backwards, you're trying to stretch teams, but the teams, they're not coming out. They're just staying there on the 18-yard line. So you need to start whipping the ball, hammer shots in for 25 yards, hammer them in and try and get a deflection, something. Because it's the only way you're going to get something, Xander, way back into the game is by luck of a handball or something like that, or shots outside the box. Hopefully ends up in the back of the net or something like that. And I've never seen any of that. I've seen Callum McGregor trying a couple of shots outside the box. Absolutely hopeless. But I think the crosses into the box, you're whipping the ball in high to a player that's 5'10" against a defenders that are 6'4". Hopeless, Sander. You're not going to get anything from that. No. And fair play to Balak Wisha, by the way. He did do that. He done that 3 or 4 times actually. They sort of crosses into the box with whip. He tried that, John, and it just wasn't working for us on Sunday. That's the bottom line. Nothing was working for us, but nobody else was putting crosses into the box, and it was very. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Sander. But see when the players manage to get into the box, like Tenecti or something like that, he gets past a player, he's in the box, but there's players surround him. Hammer it in. Don't try and pussyfoot with a wee chip to the back post. Hammer it in against the defenders. It's going to take a handball off them eventually, because they're camped in there. They're camped in the 6-yard box by that point. Hammer it right into that 6-yard box. You're getting something there, I'm telling you. Yeah. Okay, right, John. No point in doing a man of the match, is there? It'll be a Dundee player that wins that, because their defensive capabilities were quite good and they scored a couple of goals, so it'll be a Dundee player that wins that. Maybe the big ginger whinger up front gets the man of the match, who knows? Simon Murray, isn't it? The sub for us, John. On you go, John. Judging by Big Presley's reaction to Simon Murray, had some game. Yeah, I think the boy actually did play well, to be fair to him. Tenecti pass marks for us was probably the only one. The subs for us, John, Engels came on too late, went it for Engels. I know she done a big busting run. And I think it was McGregor passed it back to Scales. So Engels came on too late. Johnny Kenny, I mean, if that's our choices, John, up front, we've no chance. Balak Wisha, he done okay when he came on, to be fair to him. McCowan done okay when he came on as well, John. Right, okay, let's move on. I think we went through enough of the game, John, to be honest. We had to break it down. People want to know our opinions, and that is our opinions. We just need to hope that these last few games have just been, our stuttering part of the season, John. Every team goes through a stuttering part of the season. We just hope that this is ours. Sorry, you caught me mid-drinking my juice there. Aye, well, yeah. It was better to get the bad form out the way early, isn't it? I don't know if it is just a wee stuttering problem or it's also, I think there's something more to it than just a wee stuttering problem, though, to be honest with you. And I'm sure most Celtic fans think the same. But look, if it is just a wee bad spell for Celtic, you're better to get it out the way early rather than later in the season. So if that's the case, hopefully it's over. Yeah, starting on Thursday night, John, we will do a full preview of Sturm Graz at Paradise on Wednesday, John. We'll come on Wednesday, do the full preview of that podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, remember everybody. Unless it's an international break and there's nothing to talk about, we'll maybe do the 2 a week instead of the 3, but in general it'll be 3 a week. And a quick word in the competition, if you want to get your guess in for Sturm Graz on Wednesday,
Thursday nights, you can leave it to Wednesday if you want, or you can put it on this video, your guess for Sturm Graz game 1, guess each into the comments, correct score, competition on your left hand side there, league table, to win the fantastic prize. Get your guess in now if you want, or you can wait till Wednesday to find out about injuries, whatever, blah blah blah. Good luck with that, everybody. Our predictor, John, I think we got one each right at the weekend. I think you got the Hibs game right, and I got the Celtic ladies game right, so that's another one each. So that makes it 14-6 in my book here, John. 14-6 to you, miles ahead, not a problem. I'm trailing behind in every single department, but we'll do a wee midweek predictor as well, actually, John. We'll do that in 5 minutes, actually. But I just wanted a wee quick word on Sturm Graz. I know that's on Thursday night and we'll do a full preview, but they won at the weekend, John, so we're up against a team that is on form, winning games, scoring plenty of goals, just beat Rangers, John. So that's not going to be easy, but any stretch of the imagination. They beat FC Lions 4-3 away from home, John. So they're winning away from home as well.
Goal fest, that one, 4-3. But yeah, I watched them against Rangers. They're like a half-decent team, Sturm Graz.
Yeah.
But they don't look unbeatable, to be honest with you. I thought Rangers played all right against them. I thought Rangers could have scored a couple of goals, but Sturm Graz could have had 6-7 goals, I think. They look like a team they know where the net is. Celtic, on the other hand, struggling badly. But maybe this result against Dundee will be enough to make them angry, and you don't want to come up against an angry Celtic team, because that's the wrong time to get Celtic, you know. So maybe that'll be the turning point for Celtic, like you says earlier.
Yeah. Who was it that said, "You don't want to see me when I'm angry"? Was that the Hulk or something?
Hulk.
Right, okay, John. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully Celtic turn green on Thursday night. Right, John. Let's get into the other wee bits of news then. We'll park the game there. That's it. It's gone. It's away. Points are gone. 5 points behind Hearts. We move on. That's all we can do. Rangers, that's a wee word on our rivals, John, who are just in a badder state as us. I mean, I was going to say in a worse state than us, but are they in a worse state than us, John? I know they're further behind in the league, yeah, but, you know, just, as we said 5 minutes ago, John, we just hope this is our bad phase and we pick things up. But they're managerless at the moment, John. Excuse me. With Muscat pulling out of the Rangers manager running, John. So he's also pulled out the same as Steven Gerrard. Danny Rowe, he is back as favourite, John. You know, it must be great to be sixth choice to be their manager, right? Danny Rowe, he's back in the running. And you've also got, tell me what you think of this, John. Ange Postecoglou sacked at the weekend there. And Ronnie Dahlia also sacked, John. Dahlia, whatever you want to call him, Ronnie Dahlia, isn't it? He's also been sacked. A couple of potential candidates for Rangers there, John, although Ange Postecoglou's assistant manager has come out and said that they will go nowhere near the Rangers job. But what about Dahlia, John? I think there's a wee chance for him.
Nah, I don't think Ronnie would take that on either. I don't think Rangers would look at him anyway. But Ange Postecoglou, no, there's no chance Big Ange would go there. Absolutely no chance. Ange loves Celtic, Sander.
Yeah, it's obviously tongue in cheek, John. But, you know, they're desperate. You know, Muscat pulling out of the deal as well, John. You know, they were in advanced talks for him, just like they were in advanced talks for Gerrard. So, yeah, whatever's going on over there. But we've got our own problems, John. We definitely have our own problems to worry about. But we'll wait and see, John, because we do play Rangers very soon. Rangers getting their 2 each draw with Dundee United in a game, really, that Dundee United should have won at Ibrox. But again, John, that's not our issue just now. Hearts is our issue. We need to try and close that massive, John, 5-point gap. We're just hoping that, you know, a couple of teams come up against Hearts, your Aberdeens, your Dundee Uniteds, even your Motherwells. These teams always seem to give Hearts a decent game. We're just hoping that these teams can turn up against Hearts just like they do against Celtic.
Well, some teams are going to turn up against them. They're no unstoppable, Hearts. They're definitely not unstoppable. I mean, they're on a good run of form. Celtic's on a bad run of form. But you've just got to hope that something clicks with Celtic before we play Hearts this weekend. Because if we go 8 points behind Hearts this weekend, I can't see Celtic clawing that back if that form continues.
Yeah, and that 8 point gap is unthinkable, John. So we need to hope that Thursday night is a better performance and a good result as well. But we're going to that Wednesday night, John, right? Because time is getting on. Let's do a quick predictor then, very quick predictor. We'll start with Bran against Rangers, 5:45 on Thursday night. Don't know much about Bran, but no Rangers are in a bad way. What do you think, John? Quick predictor.
I'll go for 2-1 to Bran.
Okay, John. Yeah, I think they win as well. But I'll stick with the draw for this one. 1 each. And I had to bring in some games, John. I mean, nothing to us, right? But we had to get that up to 5 for a predictor. But we've played both these teams, John, Braga and Red Star. We both know what they're like, what they're capable of. A quick predictor for that. Braga against Red Star. Excuse me.
I have no idea. Braga looked all right, I thought. I'll go for a Braga win. 3-1 to Braga.
At home, I think they'll be very good, and they picked up the form as well, didn't they? So, yeah, 2-0 to Braga for me, that one. Okay, Thursday, another game Thursday night. Aberdeen away to AEK Athens, 5:45 kick-off. What are you saying?
Aberdeen recent form's been decent in it. A couple of wins in a row. AEK Athens, it's not an easy place to go. It's a hostile place. I'm going to go for an Athens win here by 3-1 again.
3-0 for me, John. And Hearts B against Celtic B, John. That'll be an interesting one. Friday night, 7:45 kick-off. Hearts B against Celtic B.
I know Celtic B lost 3-1. Was it Bonus?
Yeah. Bonus, yeah.
I'll go for a Celtic B win here, 2-0.
2-1 for me, John. 2 Celtic, that is. Okay, and last one means nothing to us, but it's Kairat Almaty. We want them to get at least a point so that they're not the worst Champions League team in history, because we want that tag to stick to the Rangers. Kairat Almaty against Pathos, both near the bottom of the table there, John. We're home for a point at least, but what's your predictor for Kairat against Pathos, John?
I know nothing about Pathos. Never even heard of them. But I did look at the table and I did see them there, and I know they're struggling. But Kairat Almaty, half decent at home, I think. Yeah. I mean, it's all decent teams I've played so far. They've took a couple of right downs, but I'll go for a Kairat win. 2-0 Kairat.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually. That's quite good. I might stick to that. I'll say 2-1, right? But hopefully they get at least a point anyway. Couldn't care less what they get, as long as they get that 1 point, so they're not the worst team in Champions League history. Right, John, comments. Let's quickly do some comments then. We've got about another 20 minutes left if you want to run through some comments. And we'll take it from the video, Brendan Rodgers interview. I mean, everywhere you look, there's just unhappy Celtic fans, John. And we're no any different. We're no happy with the situation. We've got to talk about it on here. I know we were a wee bit harsh earlier on, but you've got to be harsh when things are looking so gloomy. We do hope that things pick up very quickly, John, starting on Thursday night, because we need a pick-me-up, if you like, for going into the Tynecastle game at the weekend. But that's not going to be easy, obviously. That's going to be very tough playing in Europe. We need to get 3 points on the board in the Europa League as well, John. But a lot of unhappy Celtic fans in the comment sections, John.
Aye. I was gutted that I actually got out of my bed for that. I could have stayed in my bed and missed that whole game. I'd have been happy, you know.
Are you lying on Sunday? Yeah, that's it, John. I sort of missed the first 5 minutes as well, actually. But, you know, we need to move on from it, I'm afraid. But the supporters, John, they are raging, aren't they? They're very angry.
Aye, they're angry. Sack the board. I'm just looking at the video now, and that's the first thing I've seen. Sack the board. Couldn't agree more. Sack the board, or sack certain members of the board. James Doran was up first. Well,
sorry, John. Sorry, John. Somebody needs to be sacked for this mess. Somebody's to blame for this. I don't know if it's the board, if it's, you know, the manager. He's gave up. I don't know if I couldn't tell you, but honestly, the manager's looking at his body language. He just looks as though he's had enough. So somebody needs to take accountability for this mess.
No, if you think his body language is bad, they should have a look at all the Celtic fans' body language. We've had enough and all, Brendan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's it, John. Sorry, John, on James Doran.
Get your act together, mate. Stop being concerned about that heat gone baldy.
I know it has been interesting in England as well. That's came out today as well, that there's still interest in Brendan Rodgers. No Newcastle, Nottingham Forest have just sacked their manager. Maybe his eyes are lighting up, John, but maybe we've been a wee bit harsh when the manager may have nothing to do with him. Maybe the players have put the tools away. You just don't know what's happening here, John. We just hope it's a very quick situation that gets resolved almost instantly in the next game, John. That's what we're hoping for.
Exactly, aye. We'll wait and see what happens on Thursday. You notice that with Brendan, he's always playing with that wee baldy bit in the top of his head. He's always making sure his hair's still there.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to let these things go. It's gone.
That's it, isn't it? There's nothing you can do about it, Brendan. Let it go. Get your mind on the team and never mind your hair.
That's it. But he's got the money if he wants to get one of the Griffiths patches, like Griffiths. He had a baldy patch up there and he got the hair transplant, didn't he? Anyway, John, comments. What the guys and girls saying?
Aye, Lee Griffiths, aye. And they hiding that. Chris Boyd, I know it's another one. It's baldy and get the hair transplant. Anyway, let's go on with this comment, Sander.
Yeah.
Let's stop kicking the tires.
That's it. We need to get these thoughts out, John. We need to get them out there. Let's go for it, buddy.
Well, let's hear what James Doran's thoughts are. First up, Jamesy boy, this is embarrassing and unacceptable, and we should be putting these teams away, and I am dreading the worst in the Europa League against Sturm Graz on Thursday night. Dreading the worst, Andy? You dreading the worst like James are?
Well, let's look at the scenario then, John. And obviously we don't know what's going to happen yet. We're hoping for a win, but what happens if Sturm Graz do beat us at Celtic Park? What's next for us? I know we go to Tynecastle, I know that's what happens next, but what's next for the manager, the team? How bad does this get if indeed we do lose against Sturm Graz?
We don't know. We don't know what's next. I mean, Brendan's under pressure right now, isn't he? It looks to me like he's trying to get the sack. That's what it looks like to me. I could be totally wrong. I'm just saying what I think. Everybody's got a feeling about what's happening. You get a feeling about what's happening. And right now, I've got the feeling that Brendan Rodgers has had enough, and he's looking for any road out of Celtic. That's what could be. I'm probably miles away from the truth, but that's what it feels like to me. But there you go. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough, John. That's who knows. We don't know. We can only assume and guess here. But thanks for the comment, James. Cheers, pal. And he's bang on, by the way. We should be putting the teams to bed, but we didn't, so we need to move on. Hello.
Aye, sorry. I was just saying, had you on mute there, Xander? He's right by saying it's embarrassing as well. And he's absolutely spot on. So I can only say thank you to James, the boy, for that.
Yeah, James, keep the comments coming, pal. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Gerard Crimmin says, this has been coming for a while. Well done, Dundee, for the kick up the arse. It has been coming for a while. We've seen it. It's been coming for a while. The team hasn't been... I mean, I know we're playing against teams that are low blocking constantly. 11 men inside the box. It's mission impossible sometimes. And the only way to get around that is find players that are capable of playing wee triangles around these teams inside the box. And Celtic players, to me, look incapable of playing that way.
Yeah, they tried it, didn't they? And it wasn't coming off. Yeah, so January is going to be massive for us, John. The midfield, as I said earlier, John, it looks lost. And that maybe it is a wee kick up the backside that we need, John, because you might see a a Celtic returning on Thursday night that's fluent, John. I wouldn't hold my breath, mind you, but you might see that Celtic returning on Thursday night because of that wee kick up the backside, John. So yeah, the commenter's bang on.
Aye, and by the way, well done to Dundee for getting the result. Absolutely nothing against Dundee, and Big Elvis up there. They're sending their boys out to do a job. I know it's maybe no pretty to watch, anti-football, but look, job done.
Job done 100%, John. And we did mention that earlier. Absolutely no problem with them getting their win. That's what they're there to do. They're not there to make up the numbers, John. They're there to win the game as well. So fair play to them. It's just that Celtic didn't have the fight. Didn't have the stomach for it. So we need to get that sorted and taken right out of our system right away. That's we need to get that fight and that hunger back right now.
It's a long way away for that, I think, Xander. Well, look, we'll need to wait to Thursday and see what happens. But look, see, when it comes to the Europa League, I couldn't care less. It's about domestic winning for me. The Europa League means nothing to me, absolutely nothing. I don't think it means anything to most Celtic fans either. You seen the crowd at the last Europa League game, about 40,000 there in a 60-odd thousand stadium. It tells you what the fans want to see. They don't want to see the Europa League, and I certainly don't. I'm not interested in it, but I still want to see Celtic win.
Yeah, you could maybe take another 10,000 off that for Thursday night, but who knows, John? Might be the opposite.
I think so, man.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you, Xander. I think it'll be a lower crowd this week as well.
Yeah, the crowds are just going to dwindle the longer this goes on, I'm afraid. So I can't believe we're actually talking about this. You know, I can't believe we're in this position, to be honest with you. But anyway, John, on you go, buddy.
John Callan says, it's been all season, not just today. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. It's been a terrible start to the season.
James Cotter was up next. James Cotter. That's your Robertson, isn't it, boy, innit?
Yeah, James Cotter, yeah.
James Cotter. He was brilliant. He was the best one in Robertson, isn't it, James Cotter?
Yeah, he was funny, aye.
Celtic.
In fact, you see him in the Celtic... what's his real name again?
Tony Roper.
Tony Roper, yeah. You see him in the director's box in every Celtic game when the camera zooms into the director's box. He's sitting in the background there, isn't he? Tony Roper. So he must have a box, a director's box bought and paid for with his own money. So fair play to big Tony Roper.
Aye, Tony Roper, good Celtic man. He was the star of the Celtic Christmas video last season, wasn't he?
Aye, the Christmas, that'll be another one, John, the Christmas video for this year, eh? Who knows where we'll be come that video getting released. So we'll wait and see.
Aye. Well, hopefully we're on top of the league by then, Xander. Next up was Michael. That's it, just Michael.
Yeah.
Low block, that's his first words. Low block. Start shooting from range, especially with VAR nowadays, VAR technology nowadays. That's what I've just been talking about. He says, I'm fed up screaming at them to have a shot at goal. We have McGregor, Carter and Scales with the ball 25, 30 yards from goal, and we pass it side to side. If we start having a crack from there, it will bring out their players, low block to charge at them, and then in the gaps for side passing down wings. Mix it up more, and I bet we will have about 2 penalties a game. That's what I've just been talking about.
Yeah, well, he's right, and you're right, John. We're not having enough shots from outside the box. It's pathetic. Many times was with the players in positions to have that shot, and they do. They pass it left, they pass it right, John. Just hit a shot. I mean, Big Anacho done it. He was unlucky, hit the post. And then there was the two, I think it was Nygren, was just to keep it to beat, and Tierney was just to keep it to beat, and both of them fluffed their shots. I mean, you can't get into those positions as professional football players and do that. It's anyway, John, on you go. On you, buddy.
Aye, I mean, when you're having these 25, 35 yard shots, keep them low, keep them chest height. Somebody's going to put their hands up to hide their face or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll fire the shots in, definitely. I totally agree with that, because all their players are in the box by this point. All defending, some on the 6-yard line, some on the 18-yard line. Fire the shot in, get them covering their faces, get the penalty.
Yeah, maybe try that on Thursday night, yeah.
Look, I certainly would.
Yeah. All right, John, any more?
Chaz Boyle says, the team has been crap all season so far. and I really can't see it getting any better. The midfield is crap. Basically, replace Cal Mack and get the board to invest.
Every word he said there, John, that's what we spoke about at the start. Wouldn't it? The midfield looks as if they've lost the plot, to be honest with you. We need backup for Callum McGregor. Yeah, we mentioned all of that, John. Good comment, actually. Well said.
Thanks, Chaz. Next up was Kieran McNulty says, out now. Don't know who he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about his cat or something. I don't know.
Well, a lot of people are not happy with Rodgers, John, are they? So, I don't know, John. The board will stick with him unless the results continue to be like you said, John. Does he want the sack? You know, I doubt that myself. But if these results continue, if we get beat by Hearts and Sturmgratz, John, there's a big question to be answered there.
Well, if you don't want the sack, do a better job against crap like Dundee. That's what I can say. And no disrespect to them, but they're not exactly the best team in the country, are they?
No, they're the worst team in the league, John. But they would have been if Celtic had beat them, because they would have been sitting bottom of the table. So, no, I mean, results like that, they're a fluke. For me, they're a fluke. But they're either a fluke or there's severe problems at the club at the receiving end of that defeat, John. So you make your mind up what one it is.
I've made my mind up. I'm not telling you, but anyway, Hugh Tron, he says the team is always first. Absolutely, Hugh.
Yeah, sure. And you need to get your guesses in, pal, because that's the last two that you've missed out on. They get the competition. Get your guesses in for Sturmgratz, pal. Yeah. I mean, the comments are just not happy, John. Everybody's got the same feelings, the same attitudes as we've been talking about for the last hour, John. So, yes, there's just a lot of unhappy people out there, John.
Certainly is. And Joseph O'Brien is one of them. And Joseph says, how many chances did the board pass up? This protest is pathetic and causing harm to the club. So the board missed out for once in the transfer market. The board that have been in place for years and provided success for the club at unprecedented levels. You agree with that? I mean, there's Mary's comment. I'm going to read it out, but I think the board, I mean, I've said this to you in the past, Sander, I think the board have been kind with their cash when it came to buying guys like Engels and Trusty and Adam Ida and all that stuff. I think the board have given Brendan money, and I think they're scared to give him money because his signings are not great. And I've said this for months and months. That's the reason why I think the board are not giving Brendan any money.
That is clearly the reason, John. But it's a gamble at the same time. You know, we can't be just staying static with the same players, John, and hoping for the best. I mean, everybody knew that Rangers were in such a bad way, and an extra £20-30 million spent on the team, John, would have shot us away ahead, and it would have gave us extra backup for the players that are already there, give a wee bit of competition for the squad as well. There's no competition there, John. Who did we have on the bench at the weekend? Nobody. So we needed that money spent, whether the board trust Rodgers or not, John. We needed the players in the door, and it's a 50-50, isn't it, John? Why do you go with the board of not giving them the funds, or do you go with the team needing the extra players in to strengthen the squad, John? So for me, I think the board should have still gave the manager the money.
I agree with that as well. I definitely agree with that. But obviously the board being that tight-fisted, they're not going to spend the money. But I don't know. I'm torn between both of them. I just think the board don't trust Brendan anyway. The rest of Joseph's comment was, a section of the so-called Celtic supporters seem to think they know better than people who have been in charge for years. God help Celtic FC if they ever get to run the club. Talking about the supporters, we'll end up in the same situation as the other team across the city.
Big comment there, John. A lot of good points, but you know, you can't say it's so-called Celtic supporters. These guys and girls pay hard-earned money to have their views and opinions, John. And they know the Celtic supporters are no daft. They know exactly what's happening, John. They know they've been through it before. They've seen it before. They've seen these turmoil times happen in the past. So they just don't want to be going back the way. And I totally see where the fans are coming from. They don't want to see the club and the team going back the way John. We just want to keep being successful and keep moving forward. And right now, that's not happening.
Fans are always right. Fans are always right. That's the way I look at it. It's what Jock Stein says, wasn't it? Football without fans is nothing. This kind of sums that up, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it, John. Yeah, bang on. But thanks for a good comment, actually. Thanks very much.
Aye, thanks, Joseph. Next up was we would never sell our club for £1. One of our regulars says, I had a gut feeling something like this would happen today, and the performances in general have been very flat since the start of the season. Absolutely 100% correct.
Aye. Well, the only thing I disagree with, I agree with the comment, but I didn't think we'd get beat with Dundee, to be honest with you. I didn't think that at all. So maybe that's just me, but I thought we'd go to Dens and get... I mean, I said in the predictor 3-0 to Celtic. You said closer, John. You said 2-1 to Celtic. So, nobody thought Celtic would actually lose that one. And we hadn't lost. And by the way, everybody was mentioning this after the game, but we mentioned it before the game, John, that Celtic hadn't been beaten at Dens Park since 1988, 37 years ago. We mentioned it before the game. Everybody mentions it after the fact, John. So you should be listening to the Celtic Forever podcast. That's my point on that one.
Aye, exactly. I mean, I knew it was going to be close. At the very worst, I thought a draw, but I never ever seen us getting beat. Anyway, let's move with these comments, Sander. The Irish Warrior says, let's not forget the trophies he's won in his 2 tenures with us, but I'm afraid his time's coming to an end now. Along with losing the dressing room, I don't know if he's lost the dressing room, lacklustre players and complete apathy running through the team. And is it any wonder the board are holding back the cash? That's a couple of people that says that. As just look at the millions spent on Engels, etc., etc. Absolutely embarrassing to watch. A man after my own heart there when it comes to Engels.
Well, do you want to know something, John? The Engels thing is involved in all of this. Not the player himself. He's just a human being trying to earn a wage. And fair play to Engels. He's got to sell a great contract at Celtic, but the signing fee for Engels seems to be at the heart of all this. The board don't want to give him that kind of money. The manager, that is, again, to sign players of that value, John, so that's not happened. We also wasted a lot of money on Adam Ida. We didn't even get that money back, so that was wasted money as well. And then a trusty, John, as well, who has, let's be honest, he's been a flop at Celtic. So I totally see where these guys and girls are getting that viewpoint as well, John, to be honest with you. I see it. I can see where they're coming from. Why would you give a manager another 30, 40 million when he's just thrown away 20 odd million pound, John, on 3 players that don't get a game, John? They don't get a game. Engels, I mean, he came on with 5 minutes to go against Dundee. Trusty doesn't get a game, and they sold Ida. So you're going to look at it both ways, I suppose.
Aye, well, that's my side of it, and I'll stick to that. That's why Brendan doesn't get the big funds, and I'll keep going back to the boy Arnie Engels. Don't hate singling out any Celtic player, but aye, that's the reason why I think Brendan doesn't get the funds.
Well, John, sorry, John, you go.
I was going to say, why bring Brendan back if they never trusted him? Because they had a look at him before, so why bring him back?
Yeah. I mean, who knows what's going on as regards to Brendan and the board. But he did make statements at the weekend as regards to, well, the manager made statements at the weekend as regards to warning the board, so all's not right there, clearly. But I forget what I was going to say there about, I done a bit of homework before we signed Engels, John, a way back, before we actually signed him, and his stats were pathetic. Can't remember what team it was he came from, but I looked at it. 2 goals in 30 games, something like that. His passing accuracy wasn't good. So I don't know who looked at this player, John, and thought he's worth £11 million. I don't know. And he's also a very young player as well, John. It's a lot of money to pay for a player who's so young as well. So again, Engels just trying to earn a wage, John. It's not his fault. He was one that was signed. He can only go with the player where the teams are signing him. So Celtic wanted to play £11 million for him. He's went to Celtic. Obviously, he's whoever represents the player, John, has said, yeah, it'll be a good move, blah, blah, blah. But who looked at his stats at his former club, John, because they were pretty poor?
Aye, he's a poor player. But he's quality, get over it. I keep saying it. And you've got to remind people what this big podcast, probably the biggest Celtic podcast, says about Engels. When everybody was thinking, what if we signed here? They were saying, he's quality, get over it. That's the kind of guys you are watching, you know what I mean?
Yeah, worth every penny. I think was the headline, wasn't it? Worth every penny. He's not kicked a ball this season.
Come on, Celtic, give us a goal.
All right, John, any more?
FC Augsburg, that's who he came from.
Okay, there you go. And the stat, I remember checking it before he signed, and I thought, this doesn't look great. I didn't even see any compilation videos or nothing. So, his last two clubs, he scored 3 goals for each one in 50 odd games. So anyway, let's move on, Xander, because time's getting on. Yeah, let's go for it, John. Yeah.
Easy quadruple treble says, Brendan, please walk before it becomes the Russell Martin Show Part 2. Yes, the board are an issue, but you're just as big an issue. Don't be hated like Lennon because he refused to walk. Now I can't stand him. That's strong, that, is it no?
Yeah, well, the Lennon thing's it's totally different, John, but we're second in the league, yeah, but we're chasing Hearts, you know, they will fall away eventually, and the Hearts supporters can clip this if they want at the end of the season. If they win the league, then fair enough. But, you know, it's a different situation altogether. I think Brendan, we don't know what's going through the manager's mind. Does he want to stay? Does he want to go? He's clearly not happy, John, but it's totally different from the Neil Lennon situation. That was the COVID thing. That was the club was in total turmoil then, John. I just think it's totally different. I clearly still think we'll go on and win the league. So it's totally different from then, John.
I admire your optimism. Anyway, Stringology McHugh says Rodgers out now. Another one. Wanting Rodgers out now. Are you happy with Rodgers yourself, Sam? Do you think he's the right man for the job, or do you think he's kind of the one that's to blame for it?
Well, let's put it this way, John. Let's be honest and realistic about it, right? Because I don't want to lambast a guy that's won trebles and all sorts of things for Celtic, right? The way I look at it is the next 2 games are vital for Brendan Rodgers. If he wins them, we move on, we do well in Europe, and we win the league. If he loses the next 2 games, John, then, as I said earlier, there is definitely a question needing asked about Brendan Rodgers, John. But the next 2 games will decide it for me, John.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens. I just think he looks unhappy. Next up was Stad Thread, whatever that is. Says he picked a crap team. The usual suspects. Moving on. Mad Scotsman says pathetic. Steigerboer says that didn't look fixed at all. I don't know what everyone is talking about. Betting fraud? No way. Not in Scotland. He thinks it was a fraudulent performance from Celtic than maybe a fixed match. What a lot of nonsense.
Well, the odds for Dundee to beat Celtic 2-0 were 50-1. So the bookmakers and the gambling commissions know when there's fraud going on and it gets flagged. So, as you say, John, absolute nonsense.
Absolute nonsense. Let's move on. Low moral and big wages, no excuse. He's talking about Brendan as well. John Brennan there.
Yeah. I mean, the fans and the supporters, John, are now 50-50 on Brendan. It was probably about 80-20 before the last few games. I'd say it's about 50-50 now.
I think so, aye. Anyway, let's move on. Linda Duffy says that was just a bad day at the office. I think there was a wee bit more to than that, Linda.
Well, it's been a bad couple of weeks at the office, let's put it that way. If you're going to look at it, we did say there, John, that we're hoping this is our bad phase in the season because every team goes through their bad phase where the results aren't great. We're hoping this is it. That's it finished, John. We can move on. But a bad day at the office, understatement.
Oh, it's definitely more than a bad day at the office, I'll tell you that, Linda. Thanks anyway. Last comment, excuse me, goes to the one and only Paul McEwen. You've got to laugh at Paul, wouldn't you? I mean, Paul McEwen says, "Well done, the Celtic." And then James Doran wrote right below it, "We lost, Paul." And then Paul answered him, "Hail, hail, the Celtic and the Celtic women are well."
Yeah, he's taking no nonsense. Paul's taking no nonsense because that's his comment in every video, win, lose or draw. So fair play to Paul for that one. But no, I suppose hearing the Celtic are well is not what you want to hear during this situation. But that's just Paul for you, I'm afraid, John. That's what he comments in every single video. So he just loves Celtic, whether we win, lose or draw, I suppose. And so do we all, but we just want this mess cleared up so we can understand James as well.
Aye, James obviously right in with his answer there, but I think James and Paul, they obviously know each other because both of them have been with us from the start. And the hail, hail Celtic and the Celtic women are well comment to finish it off from Paul. Did the Celtic women not get beat as well?
yeah, they got beat 2-1 with Glasgow City. Yeah, that was a part of the predictor that I got right, believe it or not. First one in ages, actually. But no, yeah, it's just Paul. That's just Paul for you. It brings a smile to your face, John, doesn't it?
It does. Well, all we can say to Paul is we hope you're well, Paul. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, mate. You always make us laugh with the comments, even though we just get turned over by one of the worst teams in the league. Paul still thinks everything is perfect in his world. So, well done, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks for the comment, Paul. Keep the comments coming in, Paul. And your guesses for the competition, because we'll finish on that. Guesses for the competition: Sturm Graz, Thursday night, Paradise, must-win game now. Let's be honest. We're looking for the guesses for that, for the league table. 3 points for a correct score guess. 1 guess each into the comment section to win the fantastic prize at the end of the season. John, we'll be back on Wednesday for a full preview of Sturm Graz. Are you looking forward to that?
No. But look, it's always good to get back into the games quick after a defeat. Hopefully the Celtic players, they realise what a huge error that was, getting turned over by Dundee, and they must know in their hearts we're playing for Celtic, we're not playing for Dundee. They should be out there representing one of the biggest clubs in the game. And they shouldn't be pulling on that jersey and getting turned over by, no disrespect to Dundee, by the way. I thought he's deserved your wee win, by the way, for what I've seen. He defended well. And I'm not meaning that in a disrespectful way whatsoever. But Celtic should not be going to Dens Park and getting beat. It's as simple as that. The money Celtic spend on their team, they shouldn't be getting turned over by Dundee. And that's no sounding like we should be winning every game, because no team has got a right to turn up and win every game. If you put in the effort, you'll get the reward, Sander, and that's what we've seen with Dundee. Why can't Celtic do the same thing? Put in the efforts, get the rewards.
Yeah, that's it, John. And apologies if you can hear my car in the background because I'm driving just now. Right, John, okay, that's it. We've said our piece on it. It's gone. We move on. As we say, we'll look for 2 wins in the next 2 games. We'll do the preview of Sturm Graz on Wednesday afternoon, John. So we'll see everybody on Wednesday. Hopefully we can pick things up very quickly, John. Thanks for coming on, buddy, and we'll see you on Wednesday night.
I'll speak to you Wednesday, Xander. Hail, hail.
Right, John, thanks very much for coming on. Hit that subscribe button, folks. Hit the like button as well, and we'll catch you all on Wednesday. Bye for now.
The Celtic Forever Podcast.